Hello everyone, today we are discussing Atcoder beginner contest 393 and we are discussing the first problem of it. So, the problem statement is written here. The problem statement says that we are given 4 oysters labeled 1, 2, 3, 4. So, we are given 4 oysters 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now, exactly one of these types causes stomach problem, alright. So, we are given 4 oysters and only one of these oysters causes a stomach ache, alright. So, stomach problem is given by one oyster. Now, the other types do not give stomach problem. All right. Now we are given two people. The first person is Takahashi and the second person is Aoki. Okay. So we are given two people. The first person is Takahashi and the second person is Aoki. So Takahashi is eating 1 and second number oyster. Taka is eating the first 2 oysters, and Aoki is eating the 1 and 3 number oysters. Right. So Aoki is eating 1 and 3, and Takahashi is eating 1 and 2. Now, what we need to find is, we are given two strings S1 and S2. We need to find if S1 is sick, that means Takahashi got sick, and if S1 is fine, that means Takahashi is fine. If S2 is sick, that means Aoki got sick, and S2 is fine means Aoki is fine. We need to find which type of oyster causes stomach problem, right? We find the number of the oyster, okay? So we are given 4 oysters. Let's say the first example. Let's take the first example, alright? So the first example says ki the Takahashi is sick but Aoki is fine. So can I say that Takahashi is eating the oysters number 1 and 2 and Aoki is eating oysters number 1 and 3, right? So can I say it like that? If Takahashi is sick, right? Takahashi is sick. So can I say it like the number 2 would be the bad oyster? This would be the bad oyster, right? It would surely be the bad oyster. Because if 1 was the bad oyster, then both of them would get sick. Can I say it like that? Okay, if 1 was the bad oyster, then both of them would get sick. But here only Takahashi is sick. So that means the number 2 oyster is bad. So the answer for this case is number 2. Is that clear? Let's take another example. Let's say if Aoki is sick. If Aoki is sick, can I say that number 3 must be the bad oyster? Can I say number 3 would be the bad oyster? Why? Because if number 1 was the bad oyster, then both of them would get sick, right? So number 1 would not be the bad oyster. So number 3 would be the bad oyster. Okay. Now, let's take another example. If both of them are sick, then can I say that surely number 1 would be the bad oyster, right? Number 1 would be the bad oyster, right? Number 1 would be the bad oyster. Because both of them got sick, so number 1 must be the bad oyster, right? So that both of them would get sick. And if both of them are fine, if Takahashi is also fine, Aoki is also fine, then can I say that number 4 oyster would be the bad oyster? Because nobody is eating number 4, right? Takahashi is also not eating number 4 and Aoki is also not eating number 4, right? So if both are fine, then the answer for that case would be 4, right? So if both of them are sick, then can I say that number 1 oyster would be the bad oyster, right? Number 1 would be the bad oyster because 1 is present in both of them. Now, if Takahashi is sick but Aoki is fine, then can I say that number 2 oyster would be the bad oyster? Takahashi is sick, but Aoki is fine, then number 2 would be the bad oyster, right? So number 2. If Takahashi is fine and Aoki is sick, then can I say that number 3 is the bad oyster, right? Why number 3? Because Aoki is sick, right? So number 3 must be the bad oyster, right? So in that case, number 3 is the answer. And if both of them are fine, then surely number 4 would be the bad oyster. Because nobody is eating number 4, right? So number 4 must be the bad oyster. So we just need to print all of these if-else statements in a single, we just have to print the number of the oyster, okay? So let's do the C++ code for it. So please read the input format very carefully. We are given two strings S1 and S2. So I will make two strings S1 and S2. Then we are inputting both of them. Now what am I checking? What did I check? Okay, if both of them are sick, right? So if S1 is also sick, the first person is sick, and the second person is also sick, then surely number 1 would be the bad oyster, right? So we will print 1. Then second condition, if Takahashi is sick but Aoki is fine, then number 2 oyster would be bad. Then third condition, if Takahashi is fine but Aoki is sick, right? So Aoki is sick, then surely number 3 oyster would be the bad one, right? Otherwise nobody is eating oyster 4, right? So oyster 4 must be the bad one. That's it. So we are just printing the if-else and then we are just printing all of them. So let's submit this code. So as you can see, the code got submitted. Now let's do the Java version of this. So for Java, please read the input format very carefully. We are given two strings s1 and s2. So let's make two strings. The first string is s1. So we are inputting the first string sc.next, and there is also the string s2 sc.next. Cool. Now what are we checking? If both of them are sick, then number 1 must be the bad oyster. So I am checking if s1 equal to sick. But there is a minor problem in this statement. See, when we are comparing two strings in Java, now we cannot use the equal to operator. Instead, we need to use the function, inbuilt function called equals. Alright. So this function checks the value of the string. Alright. But the equal to operator checks the reference of the string. Right. So we must use the equals function. Alright. So if s1 is sick and s2 is not, s2 is also sick. Right. So if both of them are sick, then that means system.out.println. The number 1 oyster must be the bad oyster. Right? So I'll just copy this statement for simplicity. Now I'm checking if s1 is sick but s2 is not sick. s2 equals fine. So if s1 is sick and s2 is fine, then number 2 must be the bad oyster. So I'll just print number 2. So I'll just print number 2. Now third checking, if s1 is fine, if Takahashi is fine, and Aoki is sick, right? So in that case, number 3 oyster must be the bad one. So I'll just print number 3. And otherwise, nobody is eating number 4, so number 4 must be the bad oyster. So we are just checking through if else statements. Let's submit this code. Alright, so it is giving compilation error. Let's see what the problem is. SC, we have not made this scanner object. So let's quickly make the scanner object for this. Sorry about that, we did not make the scanner object, so let's paste this. First we have to make the scanner object, right, in Java. So let's hope now it gets submitted. Submit this. Alright, so as you can see, the code got submitted. So this was an easy question. We just need to figure out this part of it, and soon you will be able to solve the question. Now I'll see you in the next question. Till then, keep learning. Take care. Bye bye.